Just before this upcoming MLB season begins, and 2 years after it was meant to take place due to you-know-what, the World Baseball Classic is back. We've got all the teams that were in the 2017 WBC, plus 4 new contenders due to expansion. We've got 20 teams and even different companies making the uniforms this year. But before we begin, I would like to personally congratulate Japan for winning this year's WBC, even if it did come at the cost of the United States. So, let's begin.
Now, I loved the 2017 WBC uniforms, but for this year, all the teams have gone back to a more conservative look, and new for this year, we've got logos on the front for all the different companies that have made each country's jerseys, as well as some advertisements. I'm not going to try to dwell too much on that. I don't know why, but the company logos on the front don't bother me too terribly much, because it's like how they do it in college sports to show off who makes what, as opposed to a league where the same maker makes all of the uniforms. For the tiers, we've got terrible, meh, and awesome. So with that being said, let's look at the 2023 WBC uniforms. United States of America. The American uniforms haven't changed much over the years, and for good reason. It's just that good of a design. The USA logo on the jersey and the US hat logo with the star are both perfect, and I'm glad to see the navy blue alternate is back for this year's games. Thank you, Nike, for not trying to fix something that wasn't broken, even if we've got a DirecTV advertisement on the left sleeve. Mind you, I liked how 2017 introduced a red bill, not just because I own one, and was saddened to see this year go back to all blue, but it's still excellent regardless. No bias, this is awesome. Canada. The Canadians logo has always been clever, having the baseball swoosh through the air creating the C. Their manufacturer Under Armour decided to have the country name in a new font rather than use the more traditional block font from years past. I like how it's reminiscent of the Blue Jays, but the font is too small. I don't know what design program they used, but all they had to do was have Canada be in a bigger font and position it higher up on the jersey. Otherwise, it looks like Freddie Freeman is squeezed into a child-sized jersey. It pains me to say it, but this is meh. Mexico. This logo is one of the better M logos in all of sports, and I'm glad the Mexicans have kept it untouched with all 3 of their uniforms donning different colored hats. New Era was in charge of the Mexican uniforms, and unlike most of the ones listed here, the logo is on the sleeve. Thank you, New Era. Their white and red uniforms are still as good as ever, but this sky blue and pink jersey has everyone thrown off. Rumor has it that it's based on a popular Mexican song whose title translates to Pretty Sky. You can feel free to correct me in the comments. While I prefer the whole jersey to be sky blue and not just the sleeves, it's still solid nonetheless. Definitely awesome. Colombia. This is one of the few international teams that have changed their logo, as the C looks like it's been eating too many concessions between 2017 and now, but it's still a good logo. Adidas seemed to take inspiration from the Red Sox City Connect jersey because not only is one of their jerseys yellow, but I'm pretty sure that's the same font that Boston uses, only Colombia has the advantage that I don't dislike it here. Honestly, this is a design that works as something new rather than latching it onto an over-century-old team in my eyes. No doubt about it, awesome, and same with the blue one. Great Britain, one of the 4 new teams. This team consists of players that are either British or of British descent, or are Bahamian or of Bahamian descent, as the Bahamas and the Virgin Islands are still British territory, and the Brits are not the only one that utilizes this rule in international play. Looking at their uniforms, you would think Nike put them off until the last minute, and I know I say this a lot, but these have to be the laziest uniforms ever. Like Canada, the font is too small, and that's bad when 2 companies manage to make the same mistake in the same year. The Brits have always used this block text on their uniforms in the past, but having it shrunken on both of their jerseys like this looks terrible. The gray one is Blandsville, while the red jersey has the styling of a rejected softball jersey, and some even have bad quality control. Great Britain, eh? I know it's bizarre seeing the Brits in the World Baseball Classic, but for God's God's sake, Nike, at least give them a shred of dignity. To the shock of nobody, this is terrible. Mark my words, this is currently the lowest of the low in terms of uniform design. Cuba. The Cuban jerseys are some of the most iconic international uniforms of all time thanks to their success in international play, more so the Olympics. However, they changed them up for this year's WBC, and man, these honestly look pretty cool. I couldn't find the name of the company that made them, but whoever they are, they did a bang-up job. TP? Toilet paper? I don't know. This has to be one of the few uniforms with gradient effects on it that I actually like, and that says something. I kind of wish they gave the red jersey blue or white pants as we fade from red to blue with purple in between, and then abruptly back to red. The same can be said for their all-blue uniforms. Still, better than transitioning unnaturally to black. Overall, it's awesome. Italy. The Italians seem to have kept the design language of WBC jerseys that we saw in 2013 that would remind you of spring training uniforms from around the same time, but it's not too bad. I like the font used to spell out Italia, but the rest of the uniform I don't really care for. Whether it's in white, blue, or black, I don't hate this, it just feels kinda bland to me. Meh. The Netherlands. The Dutch have utilized the awesome Halloween color scheme of black and orange, even if it's not their flag's colors. Much like the Brits, the Dutch have also used plenty of players from countries that are still a part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, such as Curacao and Aruba, for instance. For this year, they decided to go with pinstripes with Kingdom of the Netherlands written across the front as if to acknowledge that it's not just native Dutch players on the team. Nice idea, and the jersey doesn't look bad, but personally I think of a different international team when it comes to pinstripes, and I miss the black and orange that the hat still uses. Granted, it's a crown logo instead of NL, but still. Thankfully, their black jersey maintains their fantastic Halloween color scheme that I love so much. So, not too thrilled about one jersey, but I love the other one. Sounds like meh to me, as much as I hate to say it. Panama. This is something unique. Panama is advertising their professional baseball league on the front, which is pretty interesting. The new block text is nicely emphasized by the additional outlining, and a red version is nice, but the whole deal feels uninspired. They used to have the country name in a nice cursive font, and they got rid of it for this more conservative look. It's clean, but I've seen better from them. Meh. Chinese Taipei. Chinese Taipei, or Taiwan as it actually is, has used the style for basically forever. I even like how their logo has baseball stitching in the C. However, I wouldn't be opposed to a uniform change from them. I find it odd that on the jersey underneath the logo, it says Chinese Taipei as if to remind everyone what CT stands for. I feel like this would be the uniform style for the Expos if they never moved to DC. Maybe it's time to change their uniforms for next time. Meh. Japan. Like Nike with the American uniforms, Mizuno didn't mess with the Japanese uniforms because these are classics. Even in the last tournament, when most of the teams sported colored sleeves, the Japanese stuck with their tried and true pinstripes. In addition, they brought back their navy blue and red alternate, though this one looks almost identical to the Astros navy blue uniform. It is still a nice looking alternate uniform. Yeah, I think this is obvious. This is awesome. Australia. So here are the Australian jerseys. New Balance didn't want to mess too much with...
What? Oh, crap, that's Oakland? I could barely tell.
Yeah, I know I'm far from the first person to point this out, but it bears repeating. It's green with bits of yellow, and the team name starts with an A. And yes, Australia does give us plenty of baseball players, not just underperforming basketball players. Like I mentioned, New Balance of all companies was in charge of the Aussies, so not just your dad's white shoes. They've always been solid, and I've always been a fan, even if I wouldn't mind a change. But regardless, it's awesome. South Korea. After sporting royal blue in 2017, the Koreans decided to switch to navy blue. The uniforms still maintain the side detailing akin to something you wear to batting practice or spring training. It is a nice clean look, and I love how the K logo looks as well as the font used to spell out the country on the front of the jersey, whether it be in white or navy. This is awesome. Czech Republic. Our third new team this year, Czech Republic seemingly came out of nowhere, and unlike the other two European teams listed here, it's all native Czechs apart from Eric Soga, Sjogard, who is eligible for the team due to his mother being Czech herself. Everyone's also gone over how the majority of the team are teachers or doctors, which is very impressive, and not just because of a European team, let alone an Eastern European team, making it this far in international play. I dig how the country name on the uniform is in their native tongue, and that their logo is shaped just like home plate. This is very creative, and I hope we see the Czechs in the next tournament. Insanely creative and awesome. China. Much like Japan, Mizuno made the uniforms for the Chinese and made them better, unlike what Nike did with Great Britain compared to America. I've always loved their color scheme of red and yellow. The C logo on the hat and in China on the uniform is done up like a dragon, and man does it look incredible. Sure, their previous look was alright in Old English, but this helps to make the Chinese stand out. An improvement that makes this uniform awesome. Venezuela. The Venezuelans did something different from the rest. The home uniform has a primarily blue jersey with yellow sleeves and red innards paired with white pants and a blue hat, while the road uniform is swapped with red being the primary color with gray pants and a red hat. It's unique and separates them from the other teams. They've always had red uniforms with blue being a more recent addition. I love that they kept the same font that they've had over the years. It's just a nice unique uniform. Another one in the awesome pile. Puerto Rico. The Puerto Ricans decided on a big change this year, something that seems unprecedented for baseball jerseys. Adidas added waves along the bottom of the jersey with a tower on the right hand side of the jersey. This is meant to be Castillo San Felipe del Morro, a famous Puerto Rican landmark. It does seem odd because this is more of a design scheme for a basketball jersey rather than baseball. This sounds great, and I'm surprised how much I like it. Usually I'm not the biggest fan when a company tries to make a jersey in one sport look like a jersey from another sport, but this actually works. Honestly, I'm surprised more professional or international teams haven't tried this as well. I'm surprised that they didn't do this on the red road jersey, but still good overall. Awesome. The Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic has always looked pretty good. The home whites are as good as ever, though the road uniform I thought looked terrible at first while looking at stock photography, but on the field, this looks better and fixes the complaint I had with Cuba's take on a similar uniform. This looks better with gray pants, plain and simple. Add this with their classic logo, and as you might have guessed, these are pretty awesome. Israel. The only team where you can qualify because of your religion. Israel always had decent uniforms. Their hat logo is changed from the Star of David with an eye inside of it to just the Star of David, which is still cool, but we then get to the uniform. We've got pinstripes. Alright, no problem. But the country name is written in the Blue Jays font like Canada is, and that one was done by Under Armour. Did they just copy what Canada was doing? Maybe they did for Kevin Pillar with the 80s looking shoulder stripes referencing third base coach Jerry Naren's time with the Mariners. And then the road version. This looks even more like the Blue Jays. Canada at least gets away with it since the Blue Jays are Canada's team. Israel just seems like they're copying. Add on top of being at the receiving end of the only perfect game in the history of the WBC, and you're meh. I wouldn't classify it as terrible as there was at least some thought put into this, but I think a redesign for the next WBC is in order. Keep the hat design though. Nicaragua. Our last stop and the fourth newcomer for this year, and after having two other uniforms that are just blue and white, this one is definitely the blandest. It's not bad or lazy per se, it's just forgettable. The white jersey is okay, the blue jersey is whatever, but there's no wow factor nor anything that would compel you to buy one for yourself, regardless of whether or not you have Nicaraguan pride. Of the four new teams this year, it's bizarre that Czech Republic of all teams is the one with the most creativity. I hope you guys come up with something better next time, because honestly, this is terrible.
So that will do it for today. I hope this emphasizes that most uniforms are good with some okay to mediocre ones. Frankly, bad uniforms will always be the minority. Personally, I wish more teams utilize different colors, as 9 out of the 20 teams this year have blue. I don't mind blue, I just think it's a little overdone. If Australia and the Netherlands can use colors that aren't on their flags, which both contain blue, then I feel there's no reason for other countries to do the same in my eyes. Now, my next video will cover this year's MLB uniforms, which got delayed as not every team announced what uniforms they'll be wearing this year, thanks to the new 4+1 rule. Anyways, be sure to comment on the video, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all later.